If you find an old Nintendo game called Desert War, do not play it. When a guy walked into my retro gaming shop carrying a cardboard box, I was so excited. Got some of my brother's Nintendo 64 games to sell, he said suspiciously. All right, just checking for legal reasons. Do you have your brother's permission to sell these games? I asked. He actually disappeared over 20 years ago. He's been declared legally dead. His old games were just sitting around in the basement. My parents said that I could sell them. I'm really sorry, I said. I couldn't help but wonder if he was making the whole thing up. I'd gotten used to hearing sob stories that people would make up to try to get more money. There was this one woman who came in nearly every year, attempting to sell some worthless PC games, telling me that her baby had died and that she was trying to pay for a funeral. Either she was the unluckiest woman alive or an unimaginative liar. I appreciate that, he said as he started unloading the box. He had a nice collection: Super Mario, Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, Mario Tennis, and tons more. At the bottom was a picture of his brother, which he quickly turned over, assuming I hadn't seen it. I didn't think anything of it at the time. Nearly all of the games came with their boxes and manuals, which made them much more valuable. But that was when he pulled out a loose emerald green cartridge from the bottom of his box. I heard that Nintendo had offered emerald green cartridges to publishers, but was almost positive that no one had ever chosen that color. After looking at the label, I was even more confused. It was titled Desert War. 388 N64 games had been produced. I hadn't played all of them, but I can tell you with 100% accuracy if a given title was an actual game. I was certain there was never a game called Desert War. I looked at the label closely, which depicted two soldiers in two era uniforms facing off in a desert landscape. It looked legit. There was the ESRB rating in the lower left, hand corner, T for teen, the Nintendo logo, and the official Nintendo seal of quality. The only thing strange was the publisher's name, Salatorum Games. I had never heard of them before. I turned the cartridge over and examined its back. Everything checked out. I decided to Google it, wondering if I could have somehow forgotten about the game. No result. The game simply did not exist, but somehow I had it in front of me. You remember where your brother got this? I asked. I thought this might be an elaborate hoax, that the guy was going to tell me that this was a one-of-a-kind game worth thousands. He shrugged. Can't tell you. Think he did most of his shopping at GameStop. Do you remember playing it with him? I don't actually. Don't remember ever seeing him play it. He must have got it shortly before he disappeared. It's very strange. I can't find any mention of it online. I can do more research on it. Ask some friends who might know about it and make you an offer in a few days. I'll take $20 for it, he said abruptly. I live rather far away, so it's probably not worth my time coming back here. I accepted his offer, telling him that on the off chance the cartridge turned out to be valuable, I'd share the profits with him. I'd been in this business for 12 years, and this was the strangest thing that had come through my doors. After paying him, I headed to my office, inserted the cartridge in my old N64, and turned it on. I now wish I never turned that game on. There was no splash screen, no menu, wasn't prompted to press start. Instead, I was popped directly into a desert. I was by a small oasis surrounded by sand dunes. Reminded me a bit of Shifting Sandland from Super Mario 64, but the graphics in this game were way worse. I wasn't controlling a soldier, but a teenager dressed in a black t-shirt, cargo shorts, and a backwards baseball cap. There wasn't much to do in this world. Couldn't scale the dunes, climb the palm trees, or even go swimming in the oasis. The controls were limited. I could jump using the A button, but couldn't punch or even crouch. As I was walking by the water, a skeletal hand reached out and dragged me under. There was a cutscene of the kid falling through murky water. Suddenly the screen turned black. I thought the game had crashed, but a few seconds later it came back on. I was in some cave. Before me was an enormous skeleton wearing a green wizard's hat decorated with stars and crescents. There was a slingshot nearby, and I tried to move over to it, but my character wasn't responding to the analog stick. No matter what button I pressed, nothing happened. Must be another cutscene. The skeleton slowly walked over to the kid, grabbed him, lifted him up, and bit his head off, a fountain of pixelated blood spewing from his neck. Another cutscene, this one just of the skeleton's white face. I'd never seen anything like this before. I felt like I couldn't move, my eyes glued to the screen, unable to look away. But that's when I noticed something horrifying about the character's head. I recognized the face. It was the man's brother, the same face that was on the picture inside the box. My heart sunk when I realized he might not be the last victim.